Hi, Peter Hudson, Head of Training and Recruitment at the World Golf Teaching Federation, founder of YGA and operator of the Lessons for Life program. And this started out as a training for my coaches. But I think that I can kill two birds with one stone and give you a chance to think about the difference between consistency and change. So originally this started out as far as the coaches of the importance of pre-lesson conversations. So we can spend from anything from an hour to 3 just talking to people about what it is that they want to do and why they want to do it, and trying to rationalize correctly what it is that it is possible to achieve within those boundaries. One of the most often phrase that we hear when we do these conversations is the client saying they want to be more consistent. And I suspect that that's something that you have said at some time. So the first thing we've got to sort out is, when we say more consistent, do we mean that we want the average of our outcomes? Or do we mean that the odd 270-yard drive that we hit, we want to do a lot more often? So I think that there's a fundamental difference here. So if we're going to use that word consistent, then there's so many things that we can do without making swing changes. So for instance, just by picking a very specific target, a pinprick, but then also taking the trouble to aim consistently each time per whatever style you have. So in other words, if your shoulders are open 15 degrees and your club face is closed 10, well, great. As long as each and every time you set up to the pinprick with those exact measurements, with the same posture, with the same hole pressure. So immediately the outcome will be more consistent. We can then work on things like tempo, maybe a 50% less effort swing, work on being more balanced during the swing, work on the final follow through position being a position that you could hold with balance, that we maybe prepare more consistently. So however many putts or however many irons or woods we hit before, to do that exactly the same each and every time, and set the strategies and stick to those strategies, whatever you do. So within this pool, I think within probably 5 or 6 hours of lessons, we can actually become far more consistent with what we have. Now here's the interesting thing: out of the improved tempo, improved balance, then it's far more likely that we're actually going to improve the strike. So even though we may have pulled back from the speed, because we're now hitting the center of the club more often, we're probably getting more distance and more consistent with that distance. Now the other side of that coin is change. So in other words, if just by throwing ourselves at the ball 100 miles an hour, every once in a while the ball comes off the middle of the club and goes 270 yards. If you want that to happen on a regular basis, then that's about change. That's about putting the things in place that are going to give you that increased speed, while also having more club face control when you deliver that. There's a whole set of science within that genre, but also you're going to have to do the repetitions. So 21 to get a real feel of what it is that you're doing, then 5,000 up to 10,000 to make it become a solid habit. That again is probably going to be a much longer piece of work. And that's again the whole point of the coach taking the time to talk to the client and discover everything they want. So look, I hope this is useful to both coaches and to clients. What I will say here is that if you're going to go for a lesson, whether it's with somebody that I've trained or not, let me tell you, our coaches cannot qualify unless they take the trouble to talk to you between 1 and 3 to 4 hours. So that's how much we believe that we need to discover everything about you to make sure that you get the right thing, and we can guarantee your success. So thanks for listening. If you have any questions, then call me, Peter Hudson, 07939 584 010. I hope 2017 is going to be a great year for your golf. Thank you for listening.